Hello adventurers, and welcome back to another episode of Underdark Cellars. Today we are making quite possibly the best breakfast sandwich I have ever had in my entire life. I can't stop thinking about it. Let's just dive right in and get started. Now, because I can't do anything simply, we're making our brioche hamburger buns from scratch. So in the bowl of a stand mixer, we're combining our yeast, our sugar, our egg, and then our water and milk that have been heated to about 120 degrees. And then we're going to give that a mix together until everything is combined. To that, we're going to add our bread flour, a little bit of all-purpose flour, and our salt, and mix that in. Once that is all in there, we're going to take 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter that is at room temperature and mix that in as well. Then we're going to oil and wipe down the inside of a big bowl. And then after the dough has kneaded for about 10 to 15 minutes and it's tacky but not sticky, we're going to transfer the dough to the bowl, cover that, and let it rest and rise until doubled inside. That can be anywhere from like 1 hour to 2 hours. Do not overproof this though. We're going to set this somewhere nice and warm and let it rise while we work on everything else. Moving on to our roasted red bell peppers. So I'm heating up a grill pan on high, and we are placing them down once it got hot enough. Now I'm going to set this off to the side while I work on the avocado aioli. So I decided, you know what, screw it. This is Chaos Edition after all. So we're just gonna double the recipe and tweak things as we go instead of waiting for final thoughts at the end, because I want this to turn out well because it sounds good. So I put 2 large Haas avocados in the bowl of food processor along with the juice of 3 lemons and the zest of half a lemon, along with 1 cup of mayo, some salt and pepper. You'll see that the red bell peppers on my right are not charring super well. I also grated 3 cloves of garlic into the aioli. I ended up transferring those to my oven to broil, and I'm just gonna blitz this until it's nice and creamy. Make sure you season to taste, and then I'm gonna put this in a bowl to chill until it's ready for use. Because there is avocado in this, I recommend taking some plastic wrap and putting it on the top of the aioli itself so it doesn't have any oxygen in there and can't brown. So we're going to put that in the fridge, and then we're moving on to prepping our sausage patties. Alright, so this recipe calls for scallions, but I could not find scallions, so I found chives and green onions. No, they are not the same thing. Yes, you can substitute the one for the other, but just chop a couple tablespoons of that, put that in a bowl. Then we're going to lightly crush a couple teaspoons of fennel just to help those flavors come out, and then we are going to put that in the same bowl. To that, we're adding rubbed sage, which is different than regular sage. It's less potent. We're also going to add in some onion powder, and I added in about a tablespoon worth of granulated garlic. To this, we're also adding 4 tablespoons of a high quality maple syrup. Again, I'm using my bourbon aged maple syrup because it's delicious and it's less sweet. And then we're adding about a teaspoon and a half of red pepper flake. And then we're going to add in our pork, massage this all together so that everything is evenly distributed. And then we're gonna wash our hands. We're going to season with salt and pepper. I think I probably did like a teaspoon and a half to 2 teaspoons worth of salt and about a teaspoon and a half of pepper. Massage that in together, and we're gonna let this chill in the fridge until everything is ready to go. Moving on to our red bell peppers. All right, these are fresh out of the broiler. Now the papery skin should be easy enough to remove. Did not come off with forks. I had to use tongs and my fingers. Yes, it's hot. Do I care? No, that means I don't have any fingerprints to trace me back to crimes. So I'm gonna set these off to the side. Once they're all peeled, I'm gonna give these a rough chop just to get them cut into strips, and then I'm going to transfer these to a bowl. To that bowl, I'm going to add some extra virgin olive oil, salt, pepper, and I thought that harissa sounded really good. It's not in the recipe, but you know what? This is Chaos Edition, and I'm just doing what I want. The salt and pepper was not going to be enough for me. I knew that ahead of time. I wanted to enjoy this, so I added about a teaspoon of harissa to marinate these in, give that a nice little mixy mix, cover that with foil, set aside, and let's get ready to bake some buns. Sorry, my camera was not rolling, but what you're going to do is you're going to take your dough that's risen, you're going to cut it into 8 equal sections, roll those into little balls, put them on the baking sheets, and let them rise for an hour. Sorry again, let's continue. Once our little dough balls are nice and risen, we're going to crack an egg into a ramekin, give that a whisk, and then we are going to gently and delicately brush the egg wash onto the dough balls. This will give it a nice like brown shine to the dough balls once they bake. Then to half of them I also added some sesame seeds. I figured this is a burger, why not look burgery? Then we're going to bake these at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for anywhere between 20 to 25 minutes. We're going to flip the trays one way through because I'm using 2 racks that are not evenly spaced. Then we're going to put our pan to high so we can prep our sausage and cook our sausage patties rather. We're going to put down some olive oil. Once that gets nice and shimmery, we're going to add our meat to the pan. We're going to cook these for about 3 to 5 minutes on one side until they're nice and dark and golden. Then we're going to cook them for another 3 to 5 minutes on the other side. And we're going to remove them from the pan and let them rest with a little bit of cheddar cheese on top so that the cheese can melt slightly. And then we're going to fry up some eggs to top our burgers. Now, I decided to use the same pan because all of those flavorful juices and the oils are in there, so why bother getting another pan dirty anyway? So I just cracked my eggs. I personally have a hard time flipping eggs that are sunny side up, so I decided to crack the yolks. That way also I can ensure everything is completely cooked. Once those are cooked, we're going to remove those from the pan, and it is time for assembly. Alright, for assembly, we're taking our nice toasted bun and we are taking a good smear of that avocado aioli, putting it on the bottom bun and the top bun. I put about 1.5 tablespoons on both. I know it's a lot, but you know what? To that, we're going to add our sausage patty with our cheese that is melted, sharp cheddar, and then we're adding those roasted, marinated red bell pepper strips. I added a lot of those. And then to that, we're adding our fried egg, top that off, and oh my goodness, will you look at this thing of beauty. This is, I'm not lying to you, quite possibly the best thing I have eaten out of either of these cookbooks. They knew what they were doing for this one. Granted, I tweaked things a bit, but you know what? It still slaps. It's delicious. Literally the first thing out of my mouth was, this is the best thing I have eaten doing these series. So let's dive into final thoughts. Okay, final thoughts. We're gonna break this into components again like I did last time. So for the buns, we're gonna continue to make our hamburger buns. We like knowing what we put in them. The flavor was fabulous. The texture was so nice and fluffy. This was so good. Definitely toast the bun so it doesn't get super soggy, but this is the way to go. Next, let's move on to the avocado aioli. This can be made ahead of time. It can sit in the fridge. It's so good. You can have it on basically anything. I would recommend doubling this, and then I would recommend tripling the garlic cloves. It calls for 1. I put in 3. And then for the lime juice, I just juiced 3 whole limes. I also put in the zest of 1 lime. I thought that would add a nice something. I was right. And then with the roasted red bell peppers, the original seasonings are just salt, pepper, and olive oil is not really a seasoning. Put in harissa. Spice up your red bell peppers. I wanted smoky, sweet spiciness to my roasted red bell peppers. It was fabulous. I will never not add harissa to my roasted red bell peppers. That brings us to the end of today's episode, adventurers. As always, recipes are down below. If you liked what you saw, please smash that like button. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe. We do all things food and fantasy here at Underdark Cellars, and we are trying to grow the channel. And if you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, leave those down below, and I will do my best to get back to you. I love chatting with you. And I think that's it. So adventurers, take care of yourselves, do something nice for someone else today, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.